This week we lost legend Quincy Jones. He passed away at the age of 91 in his Bel Air home surrounded by family.
Quincy Jones was known as a composer, producer, musician, even an actor. He's worked on huge projects like Michael Jackson's Thriller, his album Bad, Off the Wall. He's worked with Frank Sinatra, Aretha Franklin, pretty much anyone in the industry he's influenced.
I think some people might not know this, but he actually also produced Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Oh yeah, he's executive producer on that show. Quincy Jones is not only known for his work within music, but also within film and television, working on movies such as The Color Purple, The Wiz,
Walk, Don't Run, in Cold Blood.
He started scoring for film in 1964 all the way up until 2004 with the movie Lola, which dropped in February of this year. He worked with hundreds of artists within the music industry, most notably with Michael Jackson on his album Thriller, which is now considered one of the best albums of all time. He also worked on Bad and Off the Wall.
Quincy Jones has had an undeniable impact in music, film, and TV. We went back to the Much archives and pulled an interview for you guys to watch.
Let's take a look.
Hey, what's up, soulmates? How y'all doing? Master T coming at you from New York on a beautiful patio here in New York City, hanging out with the one and only legendary Quincy Jones. Nice to meet you, man. Pleasure. And a brand new artist, what I like to describe as Canadian product. To me is in the house.
That's
How are you?
all right. Fine, thank
You all right?
Canadian product, I like that.
Canadian product. All right.
Spamming up.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to, for those of you that don't know, I'm just going to rhyme off some of your accomplishments. It may take me a while, but we do have an hour, remember? All right. So we have, okay, let's see, owner of Quest record label, music, film, television producer, songwriter, founder of Vibe magazine, arranger, and conductor, nominated for 96 Grammys. I think you've won 25 or?
26.
26, oops, 26. Produced one of the largest selling albums of all time, Thriller. Produced We Are the World, you know that. You're a father. Scored over 47 movies, including your autobiographical film, Listen Up. Now at age 57, you described your life as embarking on Act 3.
62.
62? Oh, you're 62 now.
57's not bad.
No, but like at 57, you said that you were.
Oh, in 57.
No, when you were 50, when you were 57.
Okay.
You said that you were embarking on Act 3.
That's right.
And
right. It's taken a long time, right?
Right. So now you're kind of into Act 3.
Oh, definitely into Act 3.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. You know, I get a little sleep, I'll be fine. We've been on the road with this lady for 2 weeks, and it's hard to keep up with.
Me.
Now, as far as let's talk about the brand new record, Q's Juke joint. Once again, I've actually had the opportunity to listen to the record. Amazing record as always, as far as production, artists. Now, first of all, how did the album evolve? Because I mean, we should actually name off just a few of the artists that are actually on the record. Well, there's
Brandy.
There's
Heavy D,
Take
Stevie
6,
Wonder,
Brian
Bono,
McKnight, Latifah,
Phil Collins,
Ray Charles,
Shaka Khan, Barry White,
Yo-Yo, Coolio,
Kid Capri,
Herbie Hancock,
Greg Fillinganes,
Joshua Redmond,
plus a whole bunch.
also Art Kelly.
Yeah.
Take 6. It's
Aaron
beautiful.
Hall.
It's beautiful.
A whole bunch more. Now, how did the actual album evolve?
Well, it started out to be, I was just going to do a big band and do like we used to do back in the day with Walking in Space. We'd bring everybody in the studio, all the musicians, Jupiter Lawson, Valerie Simpson, the band and everything else, and just blow. And we'd do everything in 3 days.
3 days.
And Mo Austin was leaving Warner Records, and I wanted to give him a going-away present. I've known him a long time, about 38 years. And that was the plan. So I picked some things I loved before and were significant in my life, and some new things. And that's what we were going to do. And then I said, hey, wouldn't it be fun? I did the original Ray Charles arrangement on Let the Good Times Roll. Half Basie's band, half Duke's band. It would be fun to use some 3 singers on it, like Stevie, Bono, and Ray Charles, and then have Kid Capri do the shout-outs and everything else. Well, that's where I got in trouble. Once we started with that, you know, whatever it is I listen to on every album, that higher order power, the divinity of it just said, okay, this is the way we got to do the album. And the Juke joint thing, which I've always been involved in the kind of historical thing of pulling all of I love all of the elements that I've lived through. I mean, this is my 50th year in music. I started in 1945. Finally looked at the songs, and the songs represented the 40s, 50s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And so I said, okay, if we're going to start with this group, we've got to keep going, you know. And you have to listen close to that silent voice that tells you which song each person is supposed to be on.
Right. Okay.
And then that process started, and then it was a question of finding out everybody, what keys they sing in, do you want to do it? And then they started to come to, so people started to come to us after that, you know. We opened a juke joint and everybody came.
All right, now you're
And to me,
yes, you're in the house. I mean, you kick off.
she's the only one that she's the brand new baby, you know.
Yeah,
The only one that no one knows.
Yeah.
They won't be able to say that in a month, though.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna know who you
in
are.
a month.
Fine job on the record.
Thank you
'cause
so much.
you have to actually have the lead off single, right?
Right.
You put a move on my heart. So I'm listening to it. Sexy, sensual, just like it just rolls. I'm just like sweating. No, it was just really.
Were you sweating?
Well, a little bit. I was on the plane actually.
I like that.
Try to cool down a bit, you know, before I got here. But yeah, I mean, you really managed to pull it off with such fine style. I mean, and you're a young cat.
Right, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, you know, Rod Temperton has written so many wonderful songs, and he wrote "You Put a Move on My Heart." So, with a melody like Rod's and a song and a producer like Quincy, you know, I just had to come correct. I had to throw in a little something, you know.
threw in a lot.
They had it all set up for me, you know.
Right. You've always managed to mix all kinds of different musical styles, and once again, you're doing the same thing on this record.
Well, what's great is we get. I've always been blessed with each album that a new singer emerges from each project. You know, last time back in the block it was Tevin Campbell.
Tevin Campbell.
The dude was James Ingram and Patty Austin, and back even in Mellow Madness, the brothers Johnson.
Right.
And Body Heat with Minnie Riperton, the first record. Al Jarreau was the first record. We used him as a percussion player, percussion singer, because we didn't know he was a singer at that time. He was so new. And Minnie was just getting ready to record Loving You at that time. So it's been an incredible kind of a art, you know, building up to me, you know. But to me, it's really, really special.
Are you actually going to produce a record? Imagine you're going to get a record, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're going to produce
As
it?
soon as she gets the #1 record out of the way.
We'll get that small thing out of the way. All right. Now, you've also had the opportunity to work with your two of your children on this record.
Yes.
You worked with QD III.
Right, QD3 and
QD3 and Kadada, all right? And then what was that experience like for you as
it's great.
As Pops?
It's great. Snoopy and I worked together on Tevin's record too. We did a couple of songs on that. And I've always been reluctant to do that because, you know, your kids, you know, they want to do their own thing. And he did his own thing, his own way. Right. And I've always admired him for that. So I don't get usually involved unless he asks me to, you know. And it's great, though. It's great to watch them do their thing. It's great to watch Kadada do her thing because she has very strong fashion ideas and she's just very connected to the hip hop culture, you know, very, very connected. And her instincts are just flawless, really. She just started working here for Tommy Hilfiger, you know, as an executive. And she's got a great eye, she's got an ear, and a nose for flavor, you know. And so she said, well, Dad, I always have to listen I listen to your things with the people you admire and everything else. So why don't we find some that we both admire, and everybody on the album, so we have the full thing. And I've always tried to do that anyway, you know. So when she said that, that's what we did. And we started to really stretch her. She went and talked to Brandy, and Brandy said, I would love to. You know, Brandy wasn't even born when Rock With You was the first hit. She was 15 years old.
Right, 15 years
Did that about 18 years ago. Her and Heavy D. And it's great with Babyface and SWV and Barry White and Portrait and on and on and on.
You must be really proud, though. I mean, like, the fact that QD3's actually got his own label.
He's doing it.
He's doing his own thing.
He's doing it. Jungle Records,
yeah. Yeah, Jungle Records, right.
And he's worked with Ice Cube. He scored a Menace to Society. That's the score of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And LL Cool, they just had a big hit with Monica, which is the #1 record for about 4 weeks.
Let's go back to your autobiographical film, Listen Up. Right now, that was like I found it brutally honest. I mean,
Oh, it was honest.
It
Too
was.
honest for me.
Oh, there you go. Now, I mean, if you were to do that, like today, I mean, if you would you still be that
I don't
honest?
think you have any choice, you know. If when you get into things like that, documentaries and the real, I mean, what are you going to do? Lie about the way you lived, you know? I mean, I wouldn't change, no matter how many mistakes I made, I wouldn't change any part of my life, not one part of it. And I made a lot of mistakes, you know. But I wouldn't change any part of it, and so I stand behind that, you know. So I'm not going to make up anything about it. It is what it is. It was what it was, you know.
Now, there's so many new hot producers on the scene. Are there any producers that you kind of like, you're actually digging the work that
Oh,
they're
a
putting
lot
out?
of them.
I'm sure
A
you
lot
do.
of them. I love Babyface. I always did. I met Babyface when he was 18. We played, we were on the Superfest, the Budweiser Superfest, and we're playing in Indianapolis at Black Expo. I guess, God, what, 81 or something. And when we finished the show, I came off, and they were with the Deal. And we came off with these 18-year-old kids that got us backstage. And I used to do the same thing with the guys with Bassist Band, you know, bug them and ask them questions about everything else, and they want to do other things. But we had a great talk, and you could see in their eyes that they were real serious about it. And the next thing I heard, it was Rocksteady. I like Jimmy and Terry. I've always liked Jimmy and Terry. Jimmy and Terry came to me and produced Patty Austin for me when nobody knew who they were. Patty didn't know who they were, and it took me 3 months to convince her to go with them. In the Heat of Heat, remember that? In the Heat of Heat, in the Heat of Heat. Anyway, they did 3 sides with her. I like Keith Crouch. I like John Nettlesby and Terry Coffey. I like a lot of guys, man. You know, there's some good kids out there.
Now, when you're actually producing, what way do you actually produce? I'm sure there's many ways you can produce. I mean, you can just like take it right from the floor.
Any means necessary.
Or
I started with 78s
Right.
a long time ago, and I've done every part there is, including sweeping up the floor in the studio. Because what happened is I was producing before I knew what producing was. You know, as an arranger, you call the musicians, you call the studio, and you write the music, and you are the engineer and everything else. And they used to have an A&R man who would come by after you do all that, and you kick off the band, and he'd say, take 1 and take 2. So by the time I started producing, I mean, most of the things I've been doing already anyway. That's what a producer does, you know. So it came very naturally, and I guess in 1963, with a challenge and a dare, they said, well, you guys do all these expensive jazz records. I was doing records like Julius Watkins and French Horns for My Lady, you know, jazz things. And I loved it because it's music I liked, but, you know, that wasn't necessarily popular at all. So the other A&R men at the company would say, why don't you guys go out and make some hits? I said, well, that's not the big deal, you know. I didn't know then. And so the next record I made was Leslie Gore, and that was #1 in 3 weeks. I was still arguing about whether her name was going to be okay. And we were thinking about changing her name, and I went to Japan, and they called me in 3 weeks and said, we got to go with her album, the record's #1. And that started me off really in really the pop world, really.
Now, how much creative control as a producer do you give your artists?
Listen, all that's important is a record comes out sounding great, and the artist feels good about it, and the producer feels good about it, the engineer feels good about it, and the songwriter feels good about it.
Definite partnership.
And that's the way it is. I mean, if somebody's unhappy, if we got a record that the 3 of us, Rod and Bruce and I, said is great, and she said, I don't like the way I sound on that, we have not done our job. And she talked about, this is fantastic, this is it, you know, and everything else, and I'm not happy with the way her performance is, or the way her image feels, or something, that doesn't work. Or if Rod says I want the way my song to sound, and Bruce is saying the sound is messed up, you know. And that's what it's about.
Everyone just has to communicate.
Yeah, and when everybody just says yeah, then we know we got a real record. And our guys are tough. You know, I've never had yes men around me, never. You know, they are tough, really tough. I'm tough on them too. I mean, we wear each other out, man.
Like,
no, that's rubbish, you know, not happening, you know.
Once the record comes together and everyone does that, yeah.
Yeah, you know it's right.
Is it, huh?
You know it's right.
Is it like a spiritual
absolutely,
feeling?
Yeah.
absolutely. You don't even say anything, you know, you just smile, and it's there, and there's nothing to talk about, really, you know.
And I think what you told me is so true when you said how during all the interviews we're doing a lot of radio, and through every interview we hear the song. So we've heard the song like I don't know how long.
That's right.
And he was telling me that that's why you have to, before you leave the studio and you have this package in your hand, it has to be exactly right. Because you are going to hear this, and you need to be proud every time you hear it. You need to be proud that, yes, this is what I did, you know, and know that there isn't any mistakes, and you did your very best on it, and you took your time with it, you know.
She gave it up.
Now, you're one of the artists that you don't, I mean, as a producer, you're not one of these people like say, oh, I'm just going to put together like a pop record and just put it out there. Like,
no.
So how, how do you know, like, is it just like an instinctual?
No, man, it's in from your heart, your stomach, with butterflies and goosebumps, you know. And when that happens, you know, and there's 4 or 5 times in her record, that's all I've ever used is the goosebumps, you know. When the goosebumps happen, I know we've got one. Because if you don't like it, man, how can you expect anybody else to like it, you know? I mean, it's got to touch you really deeply, you know. And I'm hard to please, man, really hard. I've heard everything, you know, for a long time. And so, you know, I don't get moved real easily, you know. So I guess that's why we, you know, end up with the right songs with the right people. We did 100 Ways with James, you know. We originally had cut that with George Benson. But the middle part of the song never worked, you know. And so we threw it out. But the beginning was compliment what she does, give her roses just because of his violence she loves, let them play. It's such a beautiful, big idea, you know. And it had the do. And so I knew there was something there, but it wasn't finished. And so we did George's record, Give Me the Night, and put it out. And I still had that song, and I said, there's something we can get there that'll make this work. And so we kept messing with it, and then Rod wrote a bridge, the melody and words, never even put his name on it, you know. And the record just lifted up to the sky. We changed the key on it. It went down before, you know, with original writers. But he never even asked for part of the writing, you know. And we recorded with James. I got a tape from Russ Dyrett, my friend, the producer Eric Clapton, to send me a song that he thought I'd like. And he said, how do you like this song? I said, the song is wonderful, but what about the singer, man? He said, no, the singer is just, the writer said, I said, the singer is just a piano player with the coasters. I said, I don't think so. I said, I love his sound. You know, who is he? And it was James Ingram, and the song was Just Once, you know? And those are the moments that make it all, you know, you find to me, and it locks up with the song. That's what makes all of this really beautiful.
Personally, for me, I always knew that Quincy Jones had a major impact in music, not only from his work with Michael Jackson, who's one of my favorite artists growing up, but even moving on to one of the current biggest artists, The Weeknd, who is now my current favorite artist. That's why I'm wearing my The Dawn FM t-shirt. Quincy Jones actually has an interlude on this album called A Tale by Quincy, since he's been such a big impact on The Weeknd.
After his passing, he received tributes from artists like Elton John, Dr. Dre, Shania Twain, Babyface, Justin Timberlake, and so many more.
Quincy Jones was slated to receive the Academy Honorary Award on November 17th at the 15th Governor's Awards.
Academy President Janet Yang says, Quincy Jones' artistic genius and relentless creativity have made him one of the most influential musical figures of all time. And we couldn't agree more.
Let us know if there's any way that Quincy Jones has impacted your love for music, film, or television, and share your stories in the comments.